the Globevisa pioneering series of Meeting the Pros. I'm today's host, Zoey, and our objective for this series is to connect you with professionals in the field of immigration around the world and to gain the insight into important topics regarding the immigration industry. We have the unique opportunity to have a conversation with Mr. Ignac Siba, the CEO of Sprint Asset, Hungary Fund and Management Private Limited Company, a major player in the Hungary Golden Visa program. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
First, could you please briefly talk about the Sprint Asset, since I'm afraid I couldn't do it justice.
Sprint Asset is one of the qualified member for Invest Investor immigration program in Hungary. The program has started last July, and Sprint Immigration was the very first company who received the qualification from our perspective. So we started the business finally in last October, when we got the final approval, and since then, we are starting to be the leading player on the market.
And for this interview, we have a total of 4 parts. The first part is about the changes in European immigration policy. Based on this, we'll move to the next part to analyze the Hungary's investment immigration policy. And for the third part, we'll focus on the strengths of Hungary program to let you know why you should choose this among so many options. As for the last part, we will address of the most pressing concerns for our clients, the fund security. First question is, what's the background behind Europe's investment and immigration policy? Why did so many countries start to offering these policies?
Europe is not really an immigration area generally, but after the 2008 crisis, many countries faced with economic problems. So they wanted, somehow to lift them up. So they implemented the immigration program, mainly for those countries which suffered the most in this 2008 crisis. Greece got this around, Cyprus, Hungary, even Portugal and Spain, in 2013 allowing the property purchase. Hungary and Cyprus were focusing on the bond program. So these programs were aiming, to stabilize the financial system in the countries. They were trying, to create jobs through these type of programs.
What classic or significant reforms and changes have European investment and immigration policy undergone?
There were a couple of changes since that, because, this immigration program didn't only bring, positive experiences, but also some negative, because, the housing prices went up, the renting became, much more expensive. So countries implemented different things, to avoid that problems. For example, in Greece, the threshold from 250,000 to roughly 800,000, and they are also implemented regional restrictions. So only in the poorer area you can buy for cheaper properties. Spain and Portugal generally canceled the property purchase. So even Hungary, planned 3 different type of investment. One was to invest into a real estate fund. The second is to buy a property, and the third one, donation for some funds. But only the first and third remain. Even the Hungarian government canceled the property investment even before it was implemented.
What's the reason behind this change?
If many investor comes into the market, especially into a small market like Hungary, where the total number of available apartments is very small compared to bigger countries, the increase in the prices could be significant, which could create problems for local people, and if this create the local people, then it would create problems to the governments as well. So that's why, they were starting to change a little bit. When the program originally started, the financial situation was different. And then, in the economic recovery boosted the economy in these countries. So, I mean, most of the countries like Hungary, actually either canceled the program or started to these changes. But in the new program, we believe that this would bring a mutual benefit for investors and for the country as well, because then we might be able to improve the quality of the residential properties and also give a unique opportunity for investors to come to a beautiful part of that.
So we can call it a double sword age. One way you can bring the good financial problems, and the other way it may damage the locals' life.
I wouldn't say that, because if you balance it, then, this would create jobs for local people, and this could bring mutual benefit for investors and locals as well. And if you structure, very well the program and even the investments, what we do, which we are trying to, then we might be able to invest in different type of housings. And this could create, much better, outcome than it used to be.
And I have also another question. The Hungary investment immigration policy was introduced in 2013, right?
Yes.
But was terminated after only 4 or 5 years. What are the key reasons behind its relatively short lifespan?
I mean, in 2013, Hungary just coming out from the financial crisis, so it desperately needed financial stability. That's why, the government implemented that program. But, in the next, 3-4 years, the recovery of the economy was tremendous. So the GDP growth was big. So, I mean...
So the problem just solved. We don't need any...
No, I wouldn't say that one, but I would say that other impacts that influence the economy. So, the government rethink, what they want to do and then what would be the structure for the immigration program. And, because they wanted to change the program, but then, the COVID came, and I mean, the economic development, were less attractive. So that's why, the government decided, to re-implement the program, but with different structure.
And that's my next question. Because the next question I want to ask, why other European investment immigration programs have been shut down or raising the threshold. But Hungary was recently launched the new immigration policy, as you said. What factor do you think promote this decision?
I think this the reason behind this probably again the economic situation. I mean, it's much more regulated. Under this program, you have to meet very strict regulatory requirements because this must be a fund that is managed by the fund manager. Both fund and the fund management company are regulated by National Bank of Hungary. We have to report very, very seriously every week, month, quarter, yearly our numbers. And the National Bank always check, whether we met when we establish the company. I mean, we need to have valuers, for example, for real estate, independent valuers. And, if an independent valuer said that, this real estate worth 100,000 euro, I cannot buy that for 100,001 euro. So, the contract must be checked not only by our lawyers, but by the custodian lawyers, because there is a custodian bank who manages, the fund, and this custodian bank must, check everything, every payout that we do from the fund. This is, to preserve, investors' fund.
And under the previous policy, Hungary offered permanent residence directly. However, the new programs only provide a 10-year golden visa. From your perspective, what are the government's likely motivations for this change?
I was not amongst the policymakers, but I assume that, this is 10 plus 10. And this practically means, the whoever invested to Hungary, it invests for 20 years. And within that period of time, there should be 3 years if they decide, to stay in Hungary for permanent residency. So if they stay in Hungary within that period for 3 years, then they can apply for permanent residency. So then the investors can decide, within that period, whether they want to live in Hungary in the rest of their life, or this was, something which, they are still part of the Hungarian society. They are enjoying the life in Hungary or the culture or, the country. I think Budapest beautiful, the bikes are fantastic, the economic part of it is amazing. So, but if, after, 20 years, these investors decide, not to live here, that they don't have to.
So can I say it's just the government, it's not only want the money for the investment, but also they want the applicants can really contribute to this country and live a good life in this country.
What I'm saying is that, the government is giving the opportunity to the investors, to live in Hungary if they want, and not live there if they not want.
So it is also an option.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the investor decisions. I think that the government didn't want to make the decisions on behalf of the investor. It's kind of, they give the opportunity to the investors that they can decide. Let me put it in different perspective. If the investors come to Hungary and bring their children, for example, and they want their children, to study in Hungary, that's also possible. We have good, universities, especially the medical and dental university. Semmelweis has 15,000 students. Out of the 15,000 students, 6,000 students are not born in Hungary. Most of them are not even speak to Hungarian. So, but still, they can study there.
And get well educated.
Exactly. And, this university is accepted any of the European countries. So let's say, after they finish the university and they want to move to, let's say, to Germany, Norway, or something else, it is also possible. So that's why, what I'm saying is that, the decision is not the government's decision. The government say that you may live here if you want, but if you don't want, you don't have to.
That's really free for many of our clients.
Exactly.
So the next question is, there are many options for investment and immigration in Europe. Greece allows investors to obtain permanent residency immediately, and Portugal allows investors to apply for nationality after 5 years. However, Hungary only offers a maximum of a 20 years golden visa, and if the applicants do not meet the 3 years residency requirements, they cannot transition to permanent residency. And that is a lack of a clear path. The clear path to permanent residency to make it less attractive.
Yeah, let me go back to my previous answer, because it's if the investor wants to live in Hungary, within 3 years they can get a permanent residency. But why do they need permanent residency if they don't live there? It's just that, how we are looking at, it's from different perspective. I think, we give a quite transparent system out of which, the decisions can be made by the investors. This is what we expect you to do here. Because if an investor, come to Hungary, really like Hungary, do business in Hungary, and want to live in Hungary, then it is perfectly possible. But if they want, something else because change life situation, or their children want to go somewhere else, that's also possible. But still, if for 20 years they can come and go to Hungary as many times as they want.
For the last part, we're going to talk about the the fund security. Some of our clients have expressed concerns about the investment strategy of Spring Hungary Real Estate Fund being a relative new fund. It's relatively new. And could you explain how you ensure the safety of the investment for your clients?
I like this question because we can show that how serious we are. There are different type of investment strategies, right? That we have a growth strategy or preservation strategy. And our fund's goal is to preserve our investors' money. This is the reason why we have two types of investment. One is the real estate investment, which is required at least 40% of into residential properties, right? So, to keep that 40%, so we need to keep the investment percentage roughly 45 to 50%. The other 50 to 55% is going to be a very conservative euro-based fixed income, like Hungary, Mercedes-Benz, whatever. I mean, very, very good, highly rated fixed incomes. And this practically means that we decrease the FX risk, what our investors have, and we keep their money in safe. I mean, big risk. So there is high risk, high return, low risk, low return. And we are focusing on low risk, which practically bring a little bit lower return. There is one more that the promoters of our fund put 10 million euros into the fund. So before any of the investors would lose a single euro, they have to lose all of their 10 millions. Believe me, if they didn't think, we could make money from this fund, they would never do.
So basically, we prefer to choose a lower risk and a lower return.
Exactly.
Yeah, to make sure that everything is safe.
Yeah, exactly. Other, potential strategy is you don't put high risk asset, but I'm pretty sure you in China experienced in the last couple of years some decrease in real estate environment, right? In the real estate prices.
Yes. Many of the Chinese clients prefer the real estate because they think it's more safe and more stable.
But as far as I know, in the last, let's say, 2-3 years, the real estate prices went down, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, our strategy is that even if the real estate prices goes down, it shouldn't affect, or, I mean, it should less affect our clients. If you have a high risk, high return strategy, then you might earn more, but if the prices are going down, you will lose a lot
more. Yeah. We noticed that this fund has now generated returns in the first 5 years. Could you kindly explain the reason for this? And after the 5-year period, if an applicant decides to continue investing, how are the returns typically distributed?
What we do actually, the main target is to preserve our clients' money. We don't know how much money can we pay back from our clients because of the situation. It's unforeseeable at this point of time. But after the first 5 years, we know that how the value appreciation and the economic development changes. There are, one-off expenses. Like, if you invest into real estate, then you have to buy, the houses, the apartments. You have to pay, legal fees, stamp duty fees, special fees for the government, which you don't have to do in the following years. So after, the 5 years when we get our investments, what we decided, to do is that every year in February, we announce, how much money we will pay for our clients for the next 4 years. And our client can decide whether they want to keep their investments in the fund or they want to withdraw it.
According to the official website, other funds have recently received the government's approval. Could you share that the core advantage of Spring Hungary Real Estate Fund are and why clients feel confident in choosing this particular fund?
Especially because our fund is it's much more conservative. I'm not saying that everybody has the same level of risk appetite. So we created our fund for those clients where, the risk appetite is lower. That's how we should describe our fund. And also, we think that the client is first. So we are trying to be as a trusted advisor for our client. And if they need something in Hungary, what I just mentioned, the education support for their children. We discuss many universities in Hungary, that if our clients' children want to study in their university, what we need to do. So I think, we have a kind of take care of the customers type of.
People, they choose this fund. It's not only for the high return. We offer a low risk and low return for the clients.
If we compare ourselves to for example, to Portugal, Hungary, the investment level is lower, and the cycle time is much quicker. So I think, if they really want quickly and with relatively low investments, what they can get back, either after 5 years or if they want to keep that for 20 years, it's then forward. They need to keep that for 10 years. That's I think, Hungary is the right place. If they put their money into the Hungarian program and they recognize, in 3-4 years that this is not what they really want, then after 5 years, they can get back their investment and they can go somewhere else if they really want to. And I think that's the flexibility what our program has. I think, it really brings opportunity for families who want to go to Hungary, the best path to choose.
Would you be able to share some of the recent successful cases with us? How quickly have the clients been able to complete the investment, and have any other client applicants already received the guest visa?
Absolutely. Since we started, we don't have any refused residency permit. So I think all of our clients, passed through the process, and it's the cycle time is 3-4 months, and because of the solid process what we have, we are able to push through all of our clients on the system. So I think, we don't have any unsuccessful story. So we only have successful stories.
So 100 successful rate.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow us and leave a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for the future topics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your effort. Thank you very much.